Staff, we are here early today for a closed session, and I will read the public charge. The Board of Commissioners ask its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe the public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should the quorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. For our closed session today, the board is requested to adjourn into closed session to discuss matters relating to the location or expansion of industries or other business in the areas served by the public body, including agreement on a tentative list of economic development incentives that may be offered by the public body in negotiations pursuant to GS 143-318.11A4. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Madam Chair, I move that we go into closed session for the matter stated.
Second.
Moved and second. Have a roll call.
Commissioner Alam.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacobs.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. We are in closed session. Good evening to our public. We are reconvening from closed session. The board met in closed session and provided directions to staff. At this time, if we will have Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Burns, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Oh. Today, June 13th, 2022, our board meeting, and we have had the questions. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge and one of our legislators that lost his son this past week, that the things that are happening in our community to our children is unconscionable, and just ask you to keep him and his family in your prayers. Thank you. Are there any agenda adjustments, commissioners? Seeing none, we'll move on to our clerk, and she will read our announcements for us. We've got quite a few there, but she does a great job at doing that.
Good evening,
Wallace.
everyone. I will read the announcements for tonight's meeting. Just a reminder that the websites are available online and in the agenda packet. BOCC Public Health COVID-19 Vaccination Clinic hours. The COVID-19 vaccination clinic at the Durham County Department of Public Health, 414 East Main Street, have the following hours to get your free vaccine: Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m., and Tuesdays, 9 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. Appointments and walk-ins are always welcome and all doses are available. Please note, clinics are closed between 11:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. daily and will be closed on Monday, June 20th in recognition of Juneteenth. For more information, please visit the BOCC Public Health website or call 919-560-9217. Exceptional measures celebrating Juneteenth. Join the Durham County Library for exceptional measures celebrating Juneteenth on Wednesday, June 15th from 6:30 till 7:30 p.m. at the Carolina Theater. This free event features Grammy-nominated artist Rizzy Palmer, nationally spoken word artist Desan Aman, and the acclaimed African American Dance Ensemble. Enjoy and experience the exceptional measures found in the artist's poem stanzas, song, lyrics, music, and dance as we recognize the connection each has to the history behind celebrating Juneteenth. There is a link to go online and register. Relative and Kin Connections presents Keeping Families Strong, Foster Care and Reunification event. Please join as we recognize foster care and reunification months, May and June respectively, on June 17th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Dorothea Dix Campus, located at 805 Ruggles Drive in Raleigh. There will be guest speakers, free food, drinks, vendors, and music. Again, this event is free and open to the public. There is no registration required. Public Health Nursing Fair. Want a fulfilling job in public service? The Durham County Department of Public Health has amazing opportunities for nurses looking for their next career challenge available now. There will be 3 public health nursing fairs held at the Durham County Main Library, 2 of which have already passed. However, the third one is on Tuesday, June 14th from 4:30 p.m. till 6:30 p.m. located at 300 North Roxborough Street, inside the third floor conference room, room 3214. Some of the open positions have a $6,000 sign-on bonus. Durham County government offers a generous benefit package and offers a great work-life balance. You can see the current job openings on the Durham County website. Rural engagement on the new Durham Comprehensive Plan. The Durham City County Planning Department is seeking out more opportunities for rural residents of Durham County to engage in the new comprehensive plan. This session will be hosted on June 21st at 6:30 p.m. at the Rougemont Rueton Club located at 212 Bacon Road. You can contact Engaged Durham at durhamnc.gov for additional information. Sheriff speaks on June 28th. Join Durham County Sheriff Clarence Burkhead for a community discussion as part of his Sheriff Speaks series at Durham County Libraries. Our next session is Tuesday, June 28th at 5:30 p.m. He will host a discussion, LGBTQIA, Safety and Experiences in the Criminal Justice System, at the North Regional Library located on 221 Milton Road. If you have questions, please email pio@durhamsheriff.org. Engage Durham Ask a Planner session. Have questions about our Engage Durham Comprehensive Plan, draft policies to guide future growth and development in the city and county? Attend our Ask a Planner virtual and in-person sessions on June 28th. You can find out more by visiting durham.mysocialpoint.com/comprehensive plan. Durham County Government to recognize Juneteenth. Most Durham County government offices will be closed in recognition of Juneteenth on Monday, June 20th. All offices will reopen with normal business hours on Tuesday, June 21st. Please visit the Durham County website to see other impacted services. Seeking artist recruitment for public artwork. Durham County invites artists and artist teams to submit qualifications for the design and installation of public artwork inside, on, or around several Durham County buildings. This is a rolling call for multiple projects at various locations, and multiple artists and artist teams will be commissioned. Locations include Durham County Administration Building 1 and the new 300 and 500 East Main Street parking deck. Preference will be given to local and regional artists, and emergent artists can submit community references. The call closes on August 31st, and you can apply through CAFE, the National Online Calls for Entries portal. That link is available on the website. Durham Area Food Map. The Durham Area Food Map, created by the partnership between End Hunger Durham, Durham County's Dine Nutrition Education Program, and Durham City County GIS Services, is a great resource for finding meals over the summer. To find stores that accept SNAP and WIC, places to find hot meals, and food pantries, please visit Durham Area Food Resources, durhamnchub.com. That concludes the announcements from our agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. We have quite a few things going on in the next couple of weeks. Our minutes, we have minutes, commissioners,
Madam
from
Chair,
our regular.
I think Commissioner Burns, I also have some additional announcements.
Sure.
Happy birthday, Chair Howerton. That was my only announcement.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all make sure to sing to her as she walks out in the most embarrassing fashion y'all can think of. But happy birthday. Thank you for your leadership. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I think you put it, when did you put it on the line?
I have another additional announcement, but they are not correlated in their succession. I just wanted to share that the governor has proclaimed on Wednesday, June 15th, as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and just for us to all be aware that within within last year, there were, in the state of North Carolina, more than 32,000 reports of abuse, neglect, or exploitation of vulnerable and older adults within North Carolina's Department of Social Services, and that our elder population is the fastest growing demographic in our state, and by 2025, 1 in 5 North Carolinians will be older than age 65. And so I just want to, echoing the governor's encouraging us to be aware that this is a time for us to pause and reflect on those who are susceptible to maltreatment, reminding us to promote better understanding of the causes of this often unseen and unreported public health and civil rights issue. And this is an issue here in Durham County. We have reports of elder abuse, just like we have reports of child neglect and abuse. And so I just wanted to make sure, since we are not doing a proclamation tonight, to take note of this. And there's also going to be, and I'll send this to staff, a free online event on Wednesday morning from 9 to 12 with speakers from the Triangle J Area Agency on Aging and North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Aging and Adult Services, about elder abuse within our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs. And, that reminds me of the statement that our mayor makes about kindness, about being kind to one another. And I think that's a place that we can stand as a board as well, is that just being kind, seniors, being kind to children, being kind to each other, and being kind to ourselves. Because we're living in a time in this country where we need to be kind to ourselves and one another. Before we go to the minutes, then we just mentioned Juneteenth, and this has been a year since we did the resolution, and then the bill was passed. So I want to read a statement about Juneteenth. Just 2 summers ago in 2020, when our nation was experiencing a significant civil unrest stemming from racial injustices and inequities related to the death of George Floyd, many activists and community leaders renewed a call to government officials for an official observance of Juneteenth. I'm so pleased that Durham County Commissioners voted to extend this holiday observance to our employees and community members starting in 2021. Next week's holiday will represent the second time our employees will have a chance to celebrate this holiday with a paid day off. I'm delighted to see that number of people officially celebrating this holiday continues to grow year after year. The bill making Juneteenth a federal holiday was signed into law by President Biden in 2021. Now, this holiday is one of 11 federal holidays recognized nationwide by the United States government. It is officially called Juneteenth Independence Day. Just a week ago, North Carolina Governor Cooper signed an executive order allowing a day of personal observance leave by state employees. Those employees may request this leave for a day of cultural, religious, or personal significance, including Juneteenth. But let me step back just for a moment. Exactly what is Juneteenth? The resolution approved by this board supporting the creation of Juneteenth holiday for our employees described it this way. Juneteenth commemorates the day freedom was proclaimed to all slaves in the South by Union General Gordon Granger. On June 19, 1865, in Galveston, Texas, that was more than 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation by President Lincoln. Juneteenth has long been celebrated in Black communities and in a variety of ways. Primarily, the purpose is to celebrate the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery, and also to educate everyone on the significant achievements of members of the African American community whose ancestors were formerly enslaved. While traditional community events such as parades, cookouts, prayer gatherings, musical performances, and historical culture readings have long been elements of this observance, our nation is also more focused on the significant challenges that continue to exist among descendants of formerly enslaved people. Those challenges include the pain and burden of systemic racism, economic challenges, environmental racism, and digital divide, healthcare disparities, lack of jobs, mental health challenges, maternal health disparities, affordable housing, unequal justice, and so much more. At the end of the day, we must continue to work collaboratively within our entire community to seek equity, equality, and justice, and to achieve better conditions where all have the same level of opportunity to thrive. Let's work to be the change we want to see. Yes, our communities will certainly provide many opportunities to celebrate Juneteenth in this upcoming week. So enjoy the cookouts, the barbecues, the fish fries, the bake sales, and family reunions, whatever you prefer. Participation in those various cultural events that feed your spirit the most, be it poetry, parades, fashion shows, music, dance, theater, storytelling, or religious activities, whatever it is, may we all just have a wonderful time next weekend together. Thank you. Have a great Juneteenth. Thank you. All right. Now we will have, if I can get a motion for the minutes. The minutes were for, where's my, May 23rd, regular session. Get a motion for that to approve, or are there any edits?
I move that we approve the minutes from May 23rd, 2022.
Okay,
Second.
been moved in second. We have a roll call.
Commissioner Alam. Aye. Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye, the minutes have been approved unanimously. Now, Commissioners, we're at our ceremonial items, and the first one, 220344, the proclamation, Thriving and Resilient Communities Week. And I've asked Commissioner Carter if she will read that for us.
Yes, I would love to read
After
this.
which we'll have, I think Ron Jenkins is here, our Public Health Director, to accept the proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Durham Board of County Commissioners, proclamation, Resilient and Thriving Communities Week 2022. Whereas resilient and thriving communities are vital to our country's future health, success, and prosperity to ensure a strong foundation for everyone at all ages and stages of life. And whereas the science is clear that resilience is built and that communities and systems play a key role in promoting safe, secure, nurturing environments for all. And whereas adverse childhood and life experiences, adverse community environments, and adverse climate events impact overall quality of life and well-being of an entire community, And whereas it is our collective responsibility to promote positive experiences, secure relationships, and supportive environments to buffer stress and adversity. And whereas investing in policies, programs, and strategies that address adversity, promote positive experiences in culturally affirming ways, and to strengthen community resilience is essential to the health and well-being of our county. And whereas the Durham community has a long history of addressing adversity, addressing underlying causes of adversity, and promoting resilience. And whereas 25% of Durham residents in 2019 reported that they did not receive the social emotional support they needed. And whereas racism is an adverse childhood experience and drives disproportionate experiences of adversity in childhood. And whereas Durham County encourages all agencies, schools, faith-based organizations, healthcare systems, elected leaders, businesses, nonprofits, community-rooted organizations, and individuals to collaborate to strengthen our communities. Now, therefore, I, Brenda A. Howerton, on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim June 6th through 12th, 2022 as Resilient and Thriving Communities Week in Durham County, and encourages all residents to become informed about the impact of adversity and the benefit of promoting positive experiences and resilience to create a county aware of and actively practicing resilient strategies that benefit all individuals toward communities of hope and healing. This, the 13th day of June, 2022.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Carter. And I think Ms. Jenkins is at the podium.
Thank you so much to this wonderful Board of County Commissioners, the best Board of County Commissioners on this side of paradise. To Madam Chair, happy birthday.
We'll take that.
We just say thank you for this beautiful proclamation. With me today, two phenomenal women who can speak to this work much better than I can. Ms. Jess Musquette, who is Durham County's ACES coordinator, and Dr. Wanda Boone, who leads Durham Joints Together. Together for Resilient Youth. She does a lot of stuff. Anyway, y'all come on up.
Good evening, Chair Howerton, Vice Chair Jacobs, Commissioners, County Manager Sowell. It's good to be here with you today. Thank you so much for bringing this proclamation forward. This is a proclamation that Durham is now joining 14 counties across the state in bringing forward. This proclamation, I think, is an opportunity to reflect on the work we've accomplished and commit to deepening our work to promoting a resilient and thriving community. In 2018, the board approved a resolution that encouraged our community to become ACEs aware and supportive of strategies that strengthen individual, family, and community buffers that can prevent or alleviate the effects of adverse childhood experiences and adverse community environments. In the past 4 years, Together for Resilient Youth, Durham's ACES Resilience Task Force and others have held countless screenings of the film Resilience and hosted trainings about ACES and resilience throughout the community. As Mr. Jenkins said, I have the joy and honor of coordinating the Durham ACES Resilience Task Force, which now includes about 40 active community-rooted organizations, community members, nonprofits, and institutions here in Durham. All of these working to prevent, mitigate, and respond to the adversity in our community. While I could say a lot about the work each of our members does, I know we're a little limited for time. So I want to reflect on what many of our members have been doing for the last 2+ years that I've gotten to witness. As we've navigated the COVID-19 pandemic, TRI and other DART members have been front lines supporting basic needs and the social, emotional, and mental health of our community. DART members have delivered food in our community, provided basic needs like diapers, formula, and wipes to families, continued to provide medical care and mental health care, quickly adapted programming to serve communities safely and families specifically so that parents felt that they had the support they needed as COVID upended just about everything. They continued to provide critical birthing support as doulas and created space for caregivers to meet with other caregivers, to develop coping skills and provide each other with social support. But DART members don't just bring their professional experience to their work. We all wear a lot of hats. DART members also bring their lived experience as parents, community members, and people who have experienced trauma. And this is so critical to our work and so important to center. I'm grateful to be supporting a group in grappling with how to do that. And I'm grateful tonight as we renew our commitment to supporting a Durham where all people are recognized for the resilience they already have and where all people can thrive. I look forward to continuing to work towards this vision with our partners and with this board to make it a reality. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you.
Good evening.
We have all experienced some form of trauma due to COVID-19. And even though there are prescribed ACEs, we can all understand what hurts. And I think that's the most important thing about resilience, that it brings us together in a way that is respectful, honest, and compassionate. I'm so excited to be a part of DART. There are actually 4 levels of ACEs, and we talked about some of them, thank you. Adverse climate experiences that include floods and hurricanes and tornadoes. Even COVID is an adverse climate experience. And then there are adverse childhood experiences that we talk about so much, that if these things happen before someone's 18th birthday, then there are outcomes that are things that we all want to prevent. Then there are adverse community experiences, which have to do with the social determinants of health and those things that are lacking in some communities. Atrocious cultural experiences, the last ACE, that is now included on the 10 and now 11 ACEs, and also a part of the social determinants of health. So TRI's excited to have community health workers who are actually the ones that do the work. We work together in tracks 10.1, 10.2, 11, 12, 13.4, 17.2, 18, and 22. Know them very well. And we're actually engaging members of those tracks to become ambassadors, as the community health workers have been, so that there's an additional layer of individuals that are embedded in the community, that know the community, that look like the community. And so we bring that as well. Black young men surpass whites in regard to suicide ideation now. That was a surprising statistic that I saw recently. And young women in the juvenile justice system, 85% of them are diagnosed with stressor and trauma-related disorders. And so we understand that it's not just individuals who are in low wealth communities, underserved populations. We're all suffering from one extent to another. But these particular statistics are where TRI puts our emphasis, and of course, so does DART. So thank you so much. It's exciting to have the proclamation received, and I look forward to continuing the work. Thanks.
Thank you so much for bringing this proclamation to us. You know, when you think about, I think about trauma so much, especially with all of the shootings that have been happening in our community and across the country. And we know that even though it's not the major one, that couple that just happened recently with our children, we know it's impacting our children right here in Durham County, because they're reacting to it. So thank you so much for bringing this proclamation, and thank you for the work that you're doing. Commissioners, comments? Commissioner Jacobs?
Thank you, Dr. Boone, and thank you, Jess, for bringing us, and Rod, for bringing us this proclamation and for the work that you all are doing. And I just think I'm really proud that Durham County has prioritized ACEs as one of the systemic approaches that we are prioritizing by having you, Jess, as our ACEs coordinator. And I'm so glad that even during the pandemic that the DART group has continued to meet. And I know I would love to hear more. I know we can't hear it all tonight, but to have you come back to our board and to just give us a report on what's happening, especially in the coming year as this board looks at how to make mental health investments, which is a big priority for our board. I think that the DART members can really help make recommendations to us and help lead opportunities for community input. So thank you so much.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes, thank you. And I also want to thank you for bringing this resolution forward and to your really important work, some of the most important work going on in our community. And this proclamation is for a week of thriving and resilient communities, but we know that it's really something that here in Durham we're really focused on year-round. And it's all of our jobs. And something that I would like to learn more about in the future, that I hope our board will discuss even more in the future, is the importance of starting when children are young and helping children and families connect to the wealth of services and resources that we have in this community. And being able to connect to those is really what makes you resilient to whatever sorts of catastrophe or trauma or adversity that you might be facing. And so I know there's been some vocal work on that done fairly recently at throughout the community. There was a conference on it fairly recently where they talked about universal access to systems of care for children and families starting at age 0 to 3, which is where we know we're focusing a lot of effort. And I just really hope we can lift that up and just keep talking about it all the time, every day, and figure out how we as a county can do more to support that work and help make it successful, help successfully connect people to the resources that we have. Thank you for your work.
Commissioner Carter, thank you for lifting that up. And the fact that the state and the national is taking that on is it's called prenatal to 3. It's a national movement to really focus on that. So that's something that we can all dive into. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you so much. Commissioners, the next proclamation, 220358, June 22nd as Pride Month, the board is requested to approve a proclamation designating June as Pride Month in Durham County. The proclamation is intended to recognize the contributions of lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, LGBTQ community members. And we have Natalie Watson, Deputy Director of the LGBTQ Center of Durham, here to accept this proclamation and share any events taking place this month. And what I was doing for the audience, I was running around asking commissioners, this proclamation is so important to this board that I wanted each board member to take a part. So we're going to start with Commissioner Alum. And I'm sorry I didn't get to you, Heidi, but next time. You read the last one. Okay. So Commissioner Alum.
Thank you, Chair Houghton. Whereas the Stonewall riots, a period of protests and violent clashes with law enforcement in June of 1969, is referred to as the genesis of the modern gay rights movement in this country, and Pride Month is the result. And whereas Pride Month is also an opportunity to peacefully protest and raise political awareness of current issues facing the community, and to celebrate the history, culture, and contributions of LGBTQ individuals. And whereas, over the years, we have seen strides made to value members of the LGBTQ community and the work to improve their quality of life by first acknowledging the challenges that are faced in all areas of life.
And whereas despite extraordinary progress, LGBTQ Americans still face discrimination simply for being who they are, and the County of Durham stands with the community in the struggle to ensure equal treatment for all, while also defending and advocating for LGBTQ rights as human rights. And whereas Durham County government continues to advocate for state, local, and statewide protections for all LGBTQ individuals to make our state a place where all people, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, are treated with dignity and respect. And
Whereas, like many progressive communities, the support for the LGBTQ rights is illustrated by the fact that the Durham County Non-Discrimination Ordinance was approved by the Board of Commissioners to provide protection and promote the equal treatment of all individuals and will take effect in July. And whereas the ordinance establishes protections and promotes the equal treatment of all individuals and provides freedom from discrimination on the basis of race, ethnicity, creed, color, sex, pregnancy, marital or familial status, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, national origin or ancestry, material or familial status, pregnancy, military status, religious belief or non-belief, age or disability in employment, and access to all places of public accommodation. Now, therefore, I, Brenda A. Howerton, Chair of the Board on the behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as Pride Month in Durham County. We call upon the people of Durham to recognize the achievement of the LGBTQ community and to help improve the attitudes of society and encourage inclusiveness in Durham County this the 13th day of June 2022.
Thank you, Commissioners. Ms. Watson,
Hello all. My
Hello.
name.
go ahead.
Hey y'all.
Hey, y'all. Hey, go ahead.
As was stated, my name is Natalie Watson. I use they, them, their pronouns, and I am the Deputy Director of the LGBTQ Center of Durham. And I am honored here to accept this proclamation from the commissioners. As I was speaking with a coworker today, explaining what I was doing at 7 o'clock tonight, and I explained to them, this is not just a proclamation, like there is intention behind what was written, and that really means a lot for me, both personally and professionally. I'm from Durham, raised in Durham, plan on getting married in Durham, having a family here in Durham, and with everything going on in specifically the United States, as well as North Carolina, and our state government, it means a lot that where I live, it acknowledges that I exist, acknowledges the folks that I work for and the folks that we serve, acknowledges all of the multitude of oppressions that we face, and acknowledges that we're fine. You know what I mean? Like, we are good to exist. And yeah, I kind of am just blown away being here right now. It really does mean a lot. I want to speak to some of the work that the center does. The LGBTQ Center of Durham was founded in 2015, and we consider ourselves to be essentially the front porch for anybody in Durham, but specifically for the LGBT community and their allies. And at this moment in time, we literally have a front porch, and in the next couple of months, we will actually be relocating to, where am I? Right down there. We're really excited to expand from 1,500 square feet to about 4,000 square feet. we will be officially opening our youth center. We were fortunate enough to receive some funds from the city of Durham from the participatory budget, the first round, and citizens of Durham felt that we needed a youth space for LGBTQ youth, and so we're really excited to open that up in the next couple of months. But the work at the LGBTQ Center of Durham is focused on many different things. We provide LGBTQ health resources through queer health fairs and providing HIV, STI pop-up clinics as well as eyeglass clinics for folks. And these are all free events where folks can come and feel safe as they can, know that the people providing the services see them as human and will just approach in that manner. We also have gender resources of all types, from name change clinics to assisting folks with changing their gender on documentations to providing support groups for family and friends who might have young LGBTQ children in their lives, and they understand that they don't know, but they love their children and they want to continue to support. So we provide support groups for both the youth as well as the parents, and they can talk and share resources. We provide case management services. Specifically, we have housing services for LGBTQ folks, along with providing mental health services. We also have a domestic violence sexual assault coordinator, and we are essentially the place to go in Durham County if you are LGBTQ and need those services. We also are establishing an employment pipeline specifically for Black trans women, and then eventually to expand out to the LGBTQ community, because we recognize how difficult it is to be one of the most marginalized groups in society, and providing as much help as we can to navigate that, establishing connections with businesses that we can trust will pay appropriately, but also see our clients and our community members as humans, respect pronouns, respect names, et cetera. And so we're really excited to help build that program. We also provide trainings, so if you ever need LGBTQ trainings, please feel free to reach out to us and we can schedule that for you. And exciting things that we do, we put on Pride Durham NC every year. It is held in September, and it was kind of dormant for a couple of years, but we brought it back in 2018, and 2019 was an success. 2020 and 2021, we provided virtual options, and this year I'm excited to announce we will be back in person, and that'll be the last weekend of September 24th. In regards to Pride Month this year, this Friday, we will be hosting Pride Out Loud in Durham Central Park. It is geared towards youth. We will have music, drag, food trucks, games, celebrating queer and trans joy. So if you just want to come out and have a good time, that space is for you, and it'll be from 3 to 7 p.m. So that's just a little bit about what the LGBTQ Center of Durham does. But again, I'm really appreciative of this. This is impacting youth. This is impacting people my age. People are taking notice, specifically what's going on in our state, what's going on nationwide. People are taking notice, and they know that Durham is a place where they can live and exist and be their full selves. And again, I'm really appreciative of this.
Thank you so much, Natalie. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here. And I know we contacted you at the last minute, but Commissioner Burns made sure that she was determined to get you here. So thank you for being here. Commissioners, comments, questions? Commissioner Lum?
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you to all the work that y'all do at the LGBTQ Center of Durham. I'm really excited that, to serve on a board that is so welcoming and inclusive and continues to make it a priority for Durham to be an inclusive community. And I wanted to also, share another event or space for our LGBTQ community that I've actually had the honor of joining them is actually through Durham Queer Sports. They have, for anyone in the community who wants to participate and find ways, this isn't just a pride event. They get together every week to play different sports. I've joined them for kickball, and it is a very welcoming space. I am not good at sports, and they made sure to make sure I was as comfortable as possible, missing the ball every time. They also have tennis and frisbee and other, I think they have paddleboard, and other sports and activities for ways that our community can come together and build relationships and make sure that, we're celebrating each other and welcoming each other in every single way.
Mr. Carter?
Yes. Wow. I'm so glad you came, Natalie, because that was a fantastic receiving of the proclamation. You really shared some amazing information with us about all the work being done through the LGBTQ Center. I'm on the 8 Homeless Services Advisory Committee, and I know that there's someone from your center that representing youth there, and especially those that are struggling with homeless issues. I just think this proclamation tonight is so important because of the wave of anti-LGBTQ legislation that's sweeping our country and has been sweeping our country this past year and even continuing into this year, being pushed forward by far right and anti-equality organizations, and that's why it's really important that we stand up and be very explicit about what we believe here in Durham. And so I'm proud that we had this resolution tonight, and proud to stand with you and all of our brothers and sisters in this community who just deserve to be seen as equals. Thank you.
Commissioner Jacobs, and then Commissioner Burns.
I just want to echo what my fellow board members have already expressed. Thank you so much for being here, for the work that you and the LGBTQ Center does for people in our community. I was also blown away just hearing about all the resources, and this is a great way to help get the word out. And to add on to what Commissioner Carter said, we have a bill introduced in our own state legislature, a discriminatory bill. So we have to keep fighting and keep ensuring that Durham is a welcoming and safe place for everyone. I also want to recognize our staff. I don't know who organized it, but last Thursday, our staff gathered together to take a pride photo. So whoever organized it, thank you so much, and to all the Durham County staff that did show up. And I will take this opportunity to make an early invitation on September 24th. Our board will be welcoming all of Durham County staff to march with us. Our clerk and the clerk's office we have a banner. We marched in the last parade together and invited all of the staff. And so I'm just, on behalf of our board, just get that on your calendar, September 24th, and we will all be marching together. Thank you.
Ditto to ditto to everything that my colleagues said, so I don't have to repeat it. But there are a couple of things that I wanted to throw out. To Deputy Director Watson, thank you so much. And I just want people to take some time to recognize the intersectionality of those two proclamations, the Thriving Communities one that we have, and this one. So Director Watson, if you all were listening, intently, they said that they are expanding their office. They're expanding their office to make room for other people. And that's exactly what the aforementioned proclamation was about. Like, how can we make sure that people have safe spaces to go? They also said they wanted to stay in Durham and get married in Durham and have children in Durham. And you only want to do those things when you feel welcome in Durham and when you feel like you can thrive in Durham. So those are things that I know that we appreciate hearing. And I do want to throw a little bit of a historical context in there. I think, just two things that happened last week really got me to thinking. California's representative, I don't know if y'all saw what Representative Lau said, and I know I'm going to get in some trouble for this, but it's fine. He said, I'm going to repeat everything that Jesus said about being gay in the Bible. And he sat there and was silent for 20 seconds. The other thing that happened last week that kind of sort of blew me away was I was looking over a bill at the General Assembly, and we're going to be at the General Assembly tomorrow. And when we look at that bill that my other colleagues referenced, they're now within this bill, there's language that states that you cannot provide mental health services to a young child who might be getting bullied because people perceive them to be gay, because they are gay, because they are lesbian. There's language in there that states that you cannot help this young person and if they're having issues with being bullied, and that's what it strives for, unless it's an emergency. And in the event that you are caught helping a young person, you will be fined up to $5,000. I want you to really think about that. So this is a child that cannot go to a therapist, and you will be fined up to $5,000. Like, y'all, that's a problem, especially when we look at some of the data that we're getting about how our how our kids are going through trauma. And that's not the kind of world that we want to have. So that's why I'm happy that Durham is at the forefront. You know, we go back 40 years, April 12th, 1981. That's when I think his name is Ronald Sonny Antonovich. They went out to the lake. They, Thank you. They went out to the Eno River. They threw homophobic slurs at him along with rocks, and he died 3 days later. 40 years later, on April 12, 2021, this board decided they wanted to go along with the proclamation that they wanted to support President Biden's proclamation about who's calling about anti. Oh, they're whispering over there. I was like, who is calling me? With anti-discrimination. This board in November of last year passed their own anti-discrimination ordinance, and then we do our prior. So all of this is intentional. Like, we want people to feel welcome here. We want students to feel welcome here. And we want our employees. I'm also thankful that we did that work for our employees. So as you all see us taking these steps, these are not just steps. These are laws, the laws of the land, of our nation, of our state, and of our county. And it's going to be that way for a while. The other thing I want to bring up just really quickly, did anybody else notice this is the first time in the history of Durham ever that this entire diocese is full of women? Never in the history of Durham have we had, from all the commissioners to the county manager to the attorney, and I know you're just sitting here today, but Larissa, thank you so much. So we've never in the history of Durham had a diocese that's just been all women, ever. I don't know if it'll ever happen again, but I do want to take some time to notice that. And so we're inclusive all the way around here in Durham, and so I'll stop there, but those were my three things.
Okay.
Run for your
So,
life, Natalie.
so is there anything else for you, Director Watson? Anything else that you'd like to say?
Just thank you. I am a Durhamite through and through, and I'm trying not to get emotional. This means a lot.
It's okay to get emotional. I get that way sometimes. It's okay. I hate it when I mess up my makeup, tear up my face, but, sometimes it just happens.
That's me whenever I'm in
okay.
drag.
Thank you again so much. We appreciate your work. Yeah. You had something else, Commissioner Long?
I have one question for Deputy Director before you leave. If you have information about one thing that when I was first elected, I was so excited to be able to participate in, but unfortunately COVID changed that plan, of the fundraiser, the drag show fundraiser that y'all have, the lip sync battle. Do you have any idea of when that might be back?
I know exactly what you're talking about. No, I do not.
Okay.
But I can ask, as there are 2 members of our staff who are drag performers, as well as, I know drag people, so I can ask. We are excited to figure out how we're going to present the new center to the community, so that's definitely something we can throw in there.
Well, thank you.
Okay. So our next item, Commissioners, is our consent agenda. We have, I believe, 22 items on the consent agenda. Starting with the first one, starting with 220250 and goes down to 220375. Are there any items that commissioners would like to pull? Yeah.
I don't want to pull an item, but I would love, for the benefit of the public, if we could hear a little bit more about an item that wasn't on our work session agenda, but I think is really important. It's the ILA with the emergency management for the to support the city's community safety department.
Thought that item was pulled from the agenda. That was pulled from the
Oh, it
agenda.
was.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize
That
that.
was not on the agenda.
Okay.
That will be, it'll be coming back at a later date. I do want to pull 220296. I'll pull that one. Any other items to be pulled? Okay, if not, then can I get a motion to approve all items except for 220296?
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the consent agenda excluding item 22-0296.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and a second to approve all the consent agendas except 220296. I get a roll call?
Commissioner Lam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter, Vice Chair Jacob,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. Okay, consent agenda has been approved. This item will be moved to, where is it? Be moved to number 10. The next item we have, commissioners, is we have a public hearing. Public hearing, we've got 220342, Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment, omnibus changes, 17 TC 21000006. The board is requested to conduct a public hearing and receive public comments on the Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment omnibus changes 17 TC 21000006 and approve two motions. And we have Sarah Young, a planning director, or Michael Stock.
Thank you. Michael Stock with the Planning Department. Before I begin, the Planning Department would like to note that all required notifications for this public hearing have been performed and are on file for review. Text Amendment TC 210006 are amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance, or UDO, that are identified as necessary corrections or clarifications or reorganizations or other minor modifications to clarify the intent of the regulations or codify interpretations, or to reflect minor policy changes, some of which are not solely technical in nature. Additionally, certain proposed changes are a result of recently adopted state legislation. The Planning Commission recommended approval with a vote of 11-2 at its March 8th meeting. At that hearing, staff also discussed the removal of three proposed changes in that draft that they were reviewing that were regarding the small lot option. It was brought to the attention of staff that Preservation Durham had some concerns with it, and staff agreed that after discussing with Preservation Durham that we would pull those changes, and we did after meeting with Preservation Durham. So those three changes are not within the draft that is before you tonight for adoption. Also, additionally, at your seat, I did notice that the digital version of attachment C was not completed, so I did provide a completed set of comments from the planning commissioners. Again, attachment C, there were only three commissioners that provided comments, Commissioners Amendolia, Cease, and Morgan, and I'll be happy to briefly go through those with you now. I'm just going to summarize them for you. The comments from Commissioner Amendolia focused on some requested changes that he'd like to see in the future. They are not part of this draft or the set of amendments. One regarding open space in the planned development residential district and how the open space requirements seem to be set up in a not a logical sense. He also referenced standards for cul-de-sacs that he'd like to see changed, and also reference sidewalk widths for our design districts that he'd like to see changed. He also did discuss how a lot of our amendments are a result of state legislative action, and that we, as staff, do monitor that pretty regularly. We do try to provide comment, and we do try to inform our delegates to working with the League of Municipalities and such to try to comment on those that we feel are not, either we're supportive of or not supportive of. Commissioner Morgan provided just a brief comment about the avigation easement that was proposed by the Raleigh-Durham Airport, that he was a member of that board, so he just wanted to make that clear. And then Commissioner Cease did bring up comments regarding site triangles and language that we did amend based upon his recommendations, the diagram for site triangles that we did amend based upon his recommendation, comment about height for accessory structures for the new attached accessory structure provision that we're providing in the ordinance, that we did remove that based upon his recommendation and discussion of that. And also, again, rewording of the revision to the site distance triangles that was actually based upon state legislation. So his comments that he brought up were acted upon in a positive manner. We did take those comments and revise the ordinance based upon that. He also did bring up a comment regarding the small lot option, but that provision is not in your document tonight, because we did agree to pull that out. We will revisit those three that we pulled out for the small lot option based upon additional metrics that we get. Those of you who sit on JCCPC get regular expanding housing choice metrics updates, and we will continue to do that, obviously, but also take a look at any current and future changes that we might like to see, not only that we feel are minor or technical in nature, but also as a result of new policies that would be adopted through the new comprehensive plan, to see what additional changes or enhancements to the expanding housing choices provisions would be warranted. But again, I apologize for that, needing to provide you with that updated document. That was purely human error. But hopefully I provided a good summary for you, but I'd be happy to answer any other questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions for staff, Commissioner? Commissioner Carter?
Yes, thank you. I'm looking at, first of all, thanks for that explanation about the comments. That was a good summary. I'm looking at page 7 of one of your attachments. I'm not sure which one. It's one that's 27 pages.
Attachment A, the ordinance itself?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And it's 6.61 general requirements related to sort of reports to the city and the county related to affordable housing developments. And the change is just that compliance and reporting will be pursuant to the city's adopted affordable housing bonus policies and procedures as amended. And I just wondered if that included the county, or is it only reporting to the city? Is there a relevant report that the county might want to receive as well?
This is mainly the city adopted compliance measures that are run through the Community Development Department, and the definition of affordable housing references those adopted compliance and monitoring procedures. So this was more of a technical update to align this provision with the definition of affordable housing.
Okay, all right, thank you. And you did mention a report to JCCPC about expanded housing choices. If there is some sort of formal report, is that something you could share with all of us?
Yeah, I'll work with Sarah to make sure that the commission gets a copy of whatever is provided to the JCCPC. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Any others? Commissioner Jacobs?
Thank you, Michael, and I appreciated all the information that you provided us, the memo where you went through and really summarized the many changes in here. I just want to be clear. I know that the small lot standards did not move forward. I just wanted to be clear, though, related to Commissioner Amadalia's suggestions. Were any of those actually addressed in the version that we have?
No, we did not. We did not add new ones that were brought up at the hearing. We just didn't feel it was appropriate to add new changes that would normally have to go, or we make it a policy to go through JCCPC first before we initiate the public hearing process. Sometimes we will make changes that don't go to JCCPC if it feels like it, if we come to a conclusion that it's like an emergency change that needs to happen, or if it's just a rewording or helps, it maintains an intent of a change if additional provisions are added. But these were brand new provisions that were discussed, and we felt it wasn't appropriate just to add it in at that hearing. But we do keep, as you're aware, we keep a running list of suggested changes, no matter who they come from, and then we go through those. We keep it open for a while, and then we close. We have to give people a cutoff time, or we will never get these before you. And then we go through that list to see if those are worthwhile changes to make, or if it was something that was it's not warranted to make because it was a more unique circumstance. There's a lot of times we just review those suggested changes, and then and also whether they are appropriate for an omnibus bill or an omnibus amendment, or should they be standalone, because we're not looking for these omnibuses to come off as being like hiding anything or trying to sneak anything through. If it's something that we feel is a major change, a major policy discussion, we'll bring it forward to you as a standalone amendment. So we provide as much transparency as possible.
Okay, thank you. And related to the small lot standards, could you tell us, I know preservation, you mentioned specifically that Preservation Durham had concerns, and then there were other concerns expressed by planning commissioners. Can you explain what are some of the major issues you're trying to address, or what were the major concerns?
There were three changes, and I'm actually blanking on one of them. One was allowing these, and this comes off, it's going to come off as rather technical, so I'm going to do my best to explain it in very layperson terms. Our ordinance allows for when you do a subdivision of lots, every zoning district has minimum lot size standards, but there's also provisions for allowing you to provide for slightly smaller lots if you also allow called lot averaging. So as long as the average meets that minimum, we were going to add that provision in for the small lot ordinance. We were also going to address how the size of the house, because as you may be aware, with using a small lot option, it puts a maximum on the size of the house, because we don't want people abusing if you want a small lot. When it was presented to us and when we moved it forward, excuse me, during 2018, 2019, the notion was we don't need these large lots. We want to provide, affordability by design a lot of times. So if you're going to get a smaller lot, you're also going to get a smaller house with it. And that was something that was very positively received. For the most part, there were still people who were not terribly thrilled with that notion too. But we were amending how it was handling with slope of the lot and how that was calculated. That's what Commissioner Cease actually in his comments was commenting on. And there was a third provision that I am blanking on, I'm sorry, I'm just blanking on right now, that was not included. But again, and the concern that Preservation Durham brought up was that a lot of old houses, they were not necessarily determined historic houses, but they were concerned about demolitions. We've been tracking demolitions. The rate of demolitions has not exceeded. You can decide whether they're high or low, but if you track them over the past decade, they are still within a range that is not going above any number that hasn't happened, a number of demolitions per year that hasn't already happened. And as far as I'm aware, we also try to link up our demolitions tied to any of the EHC provisions. And we haven't seen that correlation yet, but we're still tracking it. So we heard their concerns. Staff didn't feel that when we included them that they were major policy decisions to include those, but we heard their concerns. And since small lots are happening, they're one of the more popular EHC provisions to implement, and that they were still happening, that we felt that it was okay to hold off on these until we looked at metrics a little bit more and became, could discuss with Preservation Durham and anybody else who had concerns a little bit more about those provisions or any other EHC provisions.
Thank you so much for that explanation. I think, as we can see, when we have more eyes on things and engagement, then we end up with something stronger and better, because a lot of times people see things that other people don't. So
Absolutely.
appreciate all the engagement around it. Thank you.
Commissioner Burns?
Kind of quick, because I know we have other business, but I did want to go back to two things, because I'm always trying to think about how this correlates with other work that we're doing. So I did see the statement from Commissioner Member Cease about pictures, right? He was talking about the height of ceilings in his comment. So on page 2, one of the things that he starts off by requesting, he just said, it might be nice to include a graphic. Should have the proposed graphic generated by the time the bill comes to the Planning Commission. I would just like to say, I'm not trying to put any additional work on anybody, but this is really dense. I mean, even when you started speaking, you stated, so I'm going to try to put this in layman's terms. Pretty educated folks in this room, and even we needed layman's terms. Like, I definitely would. I'm on the Planning Commission, and I always, it's like, who wants to be a millionaire? I got to phone a friend. And so I think that the same could be said for the public. So maybe that wouldn't be a bad recommendation. I mean, I don't know who Commissioner Cease is. I don't, but I know that it would benefit me and people in my community at times, because I read, we can look through 27 pages in this one. But when he's talking about height of ceilings and, this being a flat roof, and this keeps another person from being able to put a second story on their house if they're trying to do an accessory dwelling, like stuff like that, I start to draw it in my head, but it might be helpful for other folks. The other thing I want to go back to, so that's a comment, something that Commissioner Amendola pointed out in his comments. I'm happy that he voted. He has a few things on here that are kind of a wish list, which I can appreciate, because we always need folks to advocate. But what I want to throw out, he says, a lot of times in meetings, he said, where the answer was simply, that is a change we had to make due to changes in state law. I completely get that. I do. So I almost, when I think about, I was at a conference recently, and Harris County is in Texas. Harris County has like 4.7 million people. A lot of times in the General Assembly there, or what is like their General Assembly there, they will have bills that state, this is for all counties with less than 4.5 million people in it. Like, they literally write it that way, because Harris County is I think, third most populous county in the nation, most populous. And at 4.5 million people, y'all can do what y'all want to at 4.5. I guess where I'm going, as this board seeks to build up our legislative arm, because that's something that we want to do in this budget, as we seek to build up our lobbying arm, I would be interested in seeing, recommendations from the planning, from your staff, about things that we should be talking about with them. Not that the General Assembly had absolutely no problem saying, here's $100 million for teachers, except for Durham and these 3 counties. So they have no problem leaving us out when it's beneficial to them. And so are there things that maybe Commissioner Amendola and some other folks understand that I don't, that maybe we should be left out of, or maybe should not be left out of, because the majority of the towns in North Carolina are very rural, and you have 10 very big cities. So are they making decisions, or are the majority of individuals making decisions based on their counties, because they don't have to think about a skinny urban county? So as we look to build up our legislative arms, I want to look to you to see what recommendations, so that when we send somebody over there, they can advocate for things that are important to us here in Durham. So those are just my.
Absolutely. And just to let you know that North Carolina legislature does the same thing, what you're talking about, what Texas does. They will draft bills that highlight a certain population of municipalities, and it only applies to two. You know what I mean? Like that's how it's done a lot of times, unfortunately.
Okay, anything else? I just want to add on to that. It's always good to involve as many of our other counties as possible, the other commissioners across the county. It's always good to have more voices than just Durham County when we go to the legislature for issues, especially when they're rural. If there's nothing else, commissioners, I will open the public hearing and acknowledge anyone that signed up to speak. No one signed up? Okay. Thank you. Well, I will close the public hearing if there are no other comments, and entertain a motion. The first motion. The commissioners, do you have the wording for that? Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adopt an ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance, incorporating revisions to Article 2, Review Authority, Article 3, Applications and Permits, Article 4, Zoning Districts, Article 5, Use Regulations, Article 6, District Intensity Standards, Article 7, Design Standards, Article 8, Environmental Protection, Article 9, Landscaping and Buffering, Article 10, Parking and Loading, Article 12, Infrastructure and Public Improvements, Article 15, Enforcement, Article 16, Design Districts, and Article 17, Definitions.
Okay, I get it. Second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Jacobs, second by Commissioner Burns. And we get a roll call.
Commissioner Alam. Aye. Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Okay, it's been unanimously approved. Then we have a second motion to adopt the appropriate statement of consistency. Can I get a motion for the second motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the appropriate statement of consistency pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160D-605.
Okay, got a second? Okay, it's been moved and properly second. If we can get a roll call from the
Commissioner Alam. Aye. Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
aye. Approved unanimously.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Commissioners, now we're down to 220327, adoption of the FY 22-23 budget ordinance. The board has requested to approve the 22-23 annual budget ordinance in accordance with the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act, which requires adoption of the annual budget no later than July 1. So at this time, I will ask the county manager, Soils, and the commissioners if they have any additional comments or questions about to approve before we approve the budget.
No comments of significance, only comments of pure joy that we have gotten to this point, and I really would like to thank you all for all of your commitment and dedication to the conversation we have had, and many thanks to the staff for helping us to develop such a great budget that will hopefully prove to see many significant outcomes for our community.
Thank you. Absolutely great job. Anything else? Okay, if there are no other comments, commissioners, if we can get a motion to approve the budget.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of our FY 22-23 budget ordinance.
I second.
It's been moved and properly second to approve our 22-23 budget. Roll call?
Commissioner Alam? Aye. Commissioner Burns?
Aye.
Commissioner Carter? Vice Chair Jacobs?
Aye.
Chair Howerton?
Hallelujah. Thank you. And thanks to all the staff and Claudia and everyone that participated in putting together an extraordinary budget and doing it on time and doing it on my birthday. How about that? I mean, wow. So we are very excited about this.
Madam Chair, I did want to share some comments now that we have approved the budget.
Oh, so you said you didn't have any comments, so we're moving on.
To wait until we had actually approved it, and other commissioners may as well. So I, wanted to wait till we actually.
Okay,
approved it,
give
but I
you-
don't know if other folks want to as well.
Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes.
I will read fast. I'm really excited. So
I'm
I did
timing you,
prepare
too.
some comments. Tonight, our board has approved a more than $750 million budget. This is the largest in Durham County history. I'm proud to support this budget, and it is said that a budget is a moral document. I believe that the investments we have made in this project reflect the priorities of our board and our community. They are investments in our children, the people of our community, and our staff, the precious human capital of Durham and Durham County government. I want to thank our county manager, Kim Sewell, who has hit the ground running. She began her leadership role here in March, right in the middle of our budget process, and she recommended a budget which reflected our BOCC county and community priorities. I want to thank our residents for their input, and also especially to our board members. I believe our deliberations have resulted in a final budget that makes strong county and community investments, but also recognizes the economic toll of the pandemic and current inflation. This budget does not include a tax increase. And it also expands our low-income housing relief program to help our homeowners. It makes historic investments, thanks to our county manager, more than $11.8 million for our staff and cost of living adjustments, merit pay, and for salary increases for detention officers, sheriffs, deputies, EMS, and other critical first responders. Also wanted to highlight that we are prioritizing education, investing in education with more than $177 million worth of investment in Durham Public Schools. This budget reflects an increase of nearly $11 million over last year's allocation and can be used to cover the $9.3 million that was requested for increase in staff salaries, benefits, and teacher supplements. It also reflects more than $12 million for Durham Tech, so increasing our investment in education. And we are highlighting investment in our children and families with $265,000 for maternal health, $6.4 million for Durham Pre-K, $265,000 for more school nurses, $275,000 for increased foster care, $146,000 for community schools, an additional $350,000 for our early childhood action plan. And I could go on and on, but I just
Please
want to
don't.
sum up by
Please
saying
don't.
that I want to thank our county manager, our budget director, Keith Lane, assistant budget director, David Ades, our general manager, Claudia Hager, all of the budget staff for your outstanding work in helping us adopt this historic budget. Thank you.
So, thank you, Commissioner Jacobs, highlighting a lot of the things that are in the budget And you can watch, we will be on the cable channel, August the, what date is that? Deborah?
We will tape the show. Did we say July?
Yes, we'll be taping the show and talking about the budget.
Will be shown in August.
Will be shown in August, and we will reiterate all the things, talking about all the things that are in the budget and highlighting them. So you will get to watch them again. And for the public that don't want to read through all the budget, we will be highlighting those things on the show, on the cable show in August. And again, thanks so much for all the staff that put together an extraordinary budget. Thanks to Dr. Soil, our county manager, came in with both foots ablazing. And, you know, with our finance staff and all the staff, we have some extraordinary people. What I tell people all the time is that it's not about the folks that you see up here. It's not about the commissioners. It's about the staff that get the work done, and they make us look good because they do the work, and we get to go out in the community and talk about it. But they are the experts, and they get the work done for us. So thank you so, so much. We appreciate you. Oh, now we're going to talk.
Y'all got it started. I don't have much to say. I just agree with everything that you all have said, and I'm so grateful to our staff who've made this process very accessible and understandable for us lay people who are trying to make really wise decisions how to spend limited resources. And I do think this budget is strong and invests in the human capital of Durham County first and foremost, and how important that is. It also invests in services to make life better for Durham residents. I feel like I wouldn't be fully honest, however, if I didn't acknowledge that I do believe we have work to do together with our fellow elected bodies here in Durham School Board and with our state, colleagues at the General Assembly to be sure that we're paying all of our Durham public employees a living wage. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I just want to say that again, that I think next year with the classification and compensation study that we'll be doing and that DPS will be doing, that we will be really in prime position to develop a multi-year plan to get all public employees in Durham, working together up to what is a Durham cost of living. And I just wanted to acknowledge that and look forward to us all working together on that.
Thank you, Chair Ashton. I also wanted to highlight and emphasize gratitude to Monica and her team at the clerk's office, Monica, Maceo, Shaughnessy, Tanya, who kept the entire board and our county staff on track during this budget process and all year round. So thank you to them as well for all their hard work. And I was going to also mention, Commissioner Carter took it the words out of my mouth, but continuing to advocate, I think all of us are committed to providing a living wage to all of our county employees and DPS staff. And I've said it before, the cost of living here in Durham continues to rise. Right now, it's about $25 per hour. And I hope that we continue to push to reach that goal, because the longer we take, the further that goalpost is going to keep moving as the cost of living, gas prices, and other things rise. So I hope that all of us continue to be advocates that, we raise our school classified staff salaries as well as all of county employee salaries to make sure they're able to live with dignity within Durham County.
I literally was waiting for Dustin Hoffman to appear on that balcony like it was a graduate and to stop the whole proceeding. And that didn't happen. So I'm just happy that we passed it. So that was, if you saw me, I was looking at the door. Everybody was like, what's she looking at? I did not know if we were going to be able to pass it. because this has been a labor of love, but it was full of its own labor pains. To the staff, I really think sometimes people think that because you work, that you don't have the issues that people on the outside have, but you take home the problems and the issues of the citizens of Durham every day. For our frontline workers who dealt with the pandemic or folks who just had to file paperwork with social services, I know there were a lot of days that you had to go home and cry because you didn't know how you were going to help folks. You didn't know where the money was going to come from. You were looking to us for help. Folks in finance who are not frontline, who were trying to get blood out of a turnip. And to be quite frank, it did seem on days, not in this space, but outside of this space, it just completely went unappreciated. I hope that this budget is a love letter to you all to let you all know that you were appreciated. So I did want to say that. And I do want to see our cost of living going up. It's not missed on me that, 40% of the housing that's bought in Durham right now is bought by hedge funds. So we're every day pushing people in Durham out. And I'm proud to say that we didn't do a tax increase, but that's because I know that other tax increases are coming via the bond, via the city, it's coming from everywhere. So I do, but I want to echo something that Commissioner Carter said and something that I've said myself. It has to be done together. For the folks in this room that are employees of Durham, you're also residents of Durham. The same way you all look to us to do the right thing, look to your other bodies to do the right thing, because those other employees are also your neighbors. They need just as much advocacy. And if we see that not happening, we don't want it to become a tug of war between folks like it did this year, because that's really what it was. Everybody looks at this thing like it's a pie, but there are mathematical ways and creative ways that we can get a lot of stuff done. I am excited about the litany of things that Commissioner Jacobs mentioned. A lot of them were things that we requested, if you all seen the budget cycle, and I'm just thankful to Manager Sowell, as well as Claudia and the rest of the staff, and Keith and David 80s, wherever you are. Is David still in the, he raising that hand because he has on a sling, he's been in a fight. And so, so I'm very happy about the fact that, every time we ask something, I would see you all wince, and you all just said, why are they asking for more? And you all leveled up every single solitary time, and I just want to say thank you. I know you wanted to run for the hills. To all the departments that sacrificed employees. I actually know, I didn't know about some until some of my colleagues mentioned them, but then I actually saw individuals in this room, you sacrificed your employee because you knew another department needed it. And you said, I want this department to have it. I know, Keith, you gave up one. I know some in social services didn't get theirs. So that type of sacrifice, we saw it. We appreciate it. And we know that you did it for the greater good of the county. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in here.
Okay. Is that it? All right.
Chair Howerton, I just want to make one quick statement of information. First of all, congratulations to you all on adoption of this
So
budget.
this is Keith.
Yes, ma'am. Keith Lane, Durham County Budget Director.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know and let the public know that we will have a copy of the budget ordinance online tomorrow or the next day, and we will have an updated Power BI reports that sort of show it numerically within the next couple of days, the actual approved budget document and the pages that are a little more descriptive. That's going to take about a month and a half for us to get together. And as soon as that adopted, approved budget is created, we will deliver it to you by hand, but we will also put it online. But everyone, the public needs to be patient and give us about a month and a half to have a fully approved budget document online. Thank you.
So by the time we do the show, it will be out there. Am I correct?
When exactly are you doing the show?
August.
August. Do you know when in August? It will not be mid-July. We have lots of vacation time, well earned, I might add, by our staff. It's an intermittent between now and we're shooting for the end of July.
End of July is what we're shooting for.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not very different than the recommended budget document, which is already out there. The board only increased on the manager's recommended budget $1.7 million, and $1 million of that was for DPS. We'll make some of these things known.
Okay.
There is information out there, but
Great.
didn't want people beating down your doors wondering where the approved budget document was. It'll be out there in a month or so, a couple of months.
We'll work with. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. And just I just want to say something about that too, about the compensation study. you know, that is something that we've been working on for a number of years to make sure that we take care of our employees. So I'm very pleased that that is happening. We started it a bit a couple of years ago, and for it to move forward, thank you, manager, for proceeding with that. We appreciate it. All right, so let's move on, commissioners. We've got a few more things here. The next item is 220379. Is a budget ordinance amendment number 23BCC000001, appropriating $1,953,341 of unassigned general fund balance to the NC Museum of Life and Science and complying with section law 2021-191 General Statute 14-234.3. Durham County Board of Commissioners requested to approve a budget ordinance amendment number 23 BCC 000001, appropriating dollars mentioned using unassigned general fund balance to the Museum of Life and Science. This action, through a special vote of the Board of County Commissioners, will also comply with Section Law 2021-191 General Statute 14-234.3. And I will ask the county manager to share any comments or details, any additional details before the board votes on this item.
No additional details.
Thank you. Commissioner Burns, before, because you serve on this board, you will need to abstain from this vote. And I will, if there are no other comments, I'll ask the board for a vote. Approve. Have a comment?
I just wanted to make a motion to,
Okay.
like to make a motion to approve the ordinance amendment related to the $1,953,341 of general fund balance for the Museum of Life and Science, and complying with the session law 2021-191 General Statute 14-243.3.
You got a second?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Jacobs, second by Lum. May I have a roll call?
Commissioner Long. Aye. Commissioner Burns.
Abstain.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Approved, 4, and 1 abstention. Thank you. Next item is 220357, and this is 2022 General Obligation Bond Referendum. Durham Public Schools, Durham Technical Community College. The board is requested to approve the 3 attached resolutions, which represent the first step in a 3-part approval process relating to the 2022 bond obligation bond referendum. I will ask the county manager for any additional details before the board votes on this item.
No additional details, but really appreciate all of the input that we received to get this item to the agenda this evening.
Additional comments or questions?
Madam Chair, I just want to note this is another historic moment that our board is moving forward with the largest bond referendum, I believe, in the history of Durham County. If our staff can confirm that, I believe so. That will be a total of $550,240,000 general obligation bond with a majority, all for education, but the majority going for Durham Public Schools, $423,505,000, and will entail $112,740,000 for Durham Tech and $13,995,000 for Museum of Life and Science. Just don't want to let this very historic moment go by.
Yeah, we are having a lot of historical moments these days, so if we could move on to a vote, if I can get a motion to approve this item.
Chair Howerton, I would like to make a motion that we approve the 2022 general obligation bond referendum for Durham Public Schools, Durham Technical Community College, and for the museum bonds for the Museum of Life and Science.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Moved and properly second. I'll take a verbal vote.
Commissioner Long.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. Approved unanimously.
Chair Howerton, I just wanted to give a shout out to President Buxton. I think, is that you? Yes, it's you. Being in the room, so sir, look forward to working for you as we get this over.
We saw him when he came in. He's trying to be quiet over there. So, all right. The next item is 220381. 2022 General Obligation Bond Referendum. The North Carolina Museum of Life and Science. The board is requested to approve the three attached resolutions, which represent the first step in a three-part approval process relating to 2022 General Obligation Bond Referendum. And are there any comments from our manager or additional details?
Not at this time.
Burns, because you serve on the board of the museum, you will abstain from this one as well.
Because it's the obligation bond. I can't do budgets, but I can do, yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, because I vote on this one.
No, she can't. Yeah. So we will need for Commissioner Burns to abstain from this
Anything to
vote.
do with
Okay,
these,
well,
you
no,
have
they
to
only gave me a
abstain.
notice of one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notice of
Gotcha.
one. Okay, I got it. We're
All
good.
right, so I need a motion and a second.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the three resolutions for the general obligation bond for the Museum of Life and Science.
Been moved and properly second, and take a verbal vote.
Commissioner Long.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Abstain.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Passes 4 and 1 extension. 220383, Budget Ordinance Amendment Number 23 BCC 000002, appropriating $160,000 of unassigned general fund balance to Downtown Durham, Inc., and complying with such law 2021-191 General Statute 14-234.3. So the Durham County Board of Commissioners requested to approve budget ordinance amendment as stated, appropriating $160,000 using unassigned general fund balance to Durhamtown Durham, Inc. This action through a special vote, the Durham County Commissioners will also comply with the section law 2021. This is also a general statute. Are there any comments from the manager?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
And because I serve on this board, I will abstain from voting. So I will need a vote, a motion, and a second as well.
Madam Chair, I would move this time that we approve budget ordinance amendment, the one that's appropriating $160,000 using unassigned general fund balance to Downtown Durham, Inc.
Second. Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Carter, second by Commissioner Lum. We need a verbal vote.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
And it's approved 4 and 1 extension. All right, the next one is 220384, also budget amendment 23 BCC 000003, and this is appropriating $76,000 of unassigned general fund balance to the Museum of Durham History and complying with the section law of 2021-191 General Statute 14234-3. And Commissioner Lum serves on this board, so because she serves on this board, you will need to abstain from this vote. Need a motion and a second.
Move approval, Madam Chair, of the budget ordinance amendment appropriating $76,000 using unassigned general fund balance, Museum of Durham History.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Okay, we need a verbal vote.
Commissioner Alam, Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye, it's approved 4 and 1 extension. Okay, and 220385, another budget amendment, number 23 BCC 000004, appropriating $562,970 of unassigned general fund balance to Project Access of Durham and complying with section law 2021-191 General Statute 14231-4. And I think, you're also on this board, so you will need to abstain from this vote. And I need a motion and a second.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Need a second.
You need a motion first.
Well, so moved.
What is six?
You made a motion.
And Brenda read it all out. I will say.
Yeah,
it.
she
Okay.
said second.
Okay, second.
So we have a motion and a second. Verbal vote, please.
Commissioner Alam, Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter, Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. So that was 4 and 1 abstention? Okay. Approved. So there was one item that I pulled, Commissioners, that was on the
You pulled item 0296, the resolution for the Triangle Bikeway.
220296, the one that I pulled. Had a couple of things. Who's at the?
Ellen Beckman, Durham County Transportation Manager. Dale McKeel is here as well, the Bicycle Pedestrian Coordinator for the DCH, the MPO.
Thanks, Ellen and Dale. I just have a couple of questions. One was, in your document, there was a statement that a lot of the organizations have been contacted, but I didn't see any response from them.
Thank you for that question. Dale McKeel with Durham Chapel Carver MPO. I did include one response from the Durham Committee on the Affairs of Black People, and I can provide additional responses if you would like to see those. I'm not sure that I got responses from all the organizations that I contacted, but I'll be glad to provide that additional information if that would be helpful.
That would be helpful to get that information. And the other question is, I know that bike trails are important to all of us, but the other thing that I am interested in is the ATV. ATV, why is that not being a part of this project?
That is a good question. A lot of the trails of this nature are provided for primarily for people walking and biking, and the ATVs, just because of the speed and the types of vehicles that they are not compatible. There are other facilities that are provided for ATVs, and I know there has been some discussion of that by at the city level as well. So that's certainly something that we can look into. That may be more of a Parks and Recreation function rather than a transportation function, but we can certainly look into that, and I'll be glad to get some more information to you on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, our young people have got to have some place to go rather than in our street, because right now they're racing up and down the highway. And
I understand.
it's not safe for any of us. And if we're going to continue to create bike lanes and passageways, we need to think about what is it that we can create for our young people as well to make sure that they are safe.
Thank you.
All right. Just those two couple of things that I had. Anybody else? Commissioner Jenkins?
Just want to make a motion for our board to approve the.
We still in comment, and I have my hand
okay.
up. Yeah.
Just
I
one
know,
other.
y'all, we do this every time it's about bike lanes. We want to ram things through. I just had some, and mine is just a comment. We really got to work on that. I want to just say, Mr. McKeel, thank you for your responses. Thank you for the attachment that you did send. I did, we got it today at about 3:35, so I did take some time to look at it. And what I saw was that you made a best faith effort in November. I really seriously did. And that was during a pandemic before we had a vaccine. And those meetings that you did during Zoom, I'm okay with, and I did look at the responses, and I did look at some of the questions. I did see the attachment, and I did look at what you said to look at on page 132. So I do appreciate you getting that back to us, because I asked for it on last week. I didn't like that I got it today, but I do appreciate that. My concern is, as we move forward, whether we're working with you or whether we're working with Ellen, I want that same level of intentionality to move forward. And I would also respectfully request, I saw that we did 75 or under, $75,000 or under. And again, that makes sense in certain circumstances. But then I think after you left during our work session, we had somebody else to present. And when they asked questions, they asked questions for folks who made 35,000 or less. I get it. Who's riding the bus and who's walking in the bus? As much as we want to think that Durham is very utopian, and that the same people that are riding the bus would walk, anybody who really works in Durham knows that the people who are on the bus are not the people. 9 times, that's 80% of them are not the folks that are using walkable trails. We might be walking on for exercise, might be minimal recreation, but usually if you're using a bus, this is not the person that's going to bike 20, 30 miles to work. This is not the person who's going to bike in the dark from work. We saw how much the lights cost. I know Commissioner Alon brought that up. So my concern is not as heightened at you and the work that you all did, but as we move this resolution forward and we go and we want to talk to the public again, I hope that same level of intentionality is used. Because I like Tobacco Trail, I do. There are certain times I walk on a track that our public schools have, because it's dark and it's not for me. And some people are like, oh, I'll go 20 miles to work on a bike. I don't know a lot of people who would do that. And to be quite frank, I didn't see a lot of people who answered that in the questionnaire. I saw other comments they made. They said, how integrated would it be with the bus system? Because it would be an option or a combination of it. So that's what people are looking for. So it's not one of these if then. It is and or. I mean, excuse not and or. It's very and for your response. So for the people that responded. And I need the public to understand that. I did not see reflected in those questions or in that paperwork somebody who said, but in that subset that you all did. And to throw this out so the public can understand, they did do they did some questions afterwards when they recognized that 20% of the folks that would be around in that corridor, or 20 to 40% were people of color. And then you recognize that your respondents, it was only 2.1% of your respondents. So you all did the responsible thing and said, we're going to go and ask questions of people of color because we know that they didn't answer the survey. So I appreciate that. I'm just, again, I'm like Chair Hamilton, we want to continue that. We want to, and it's not to beat a dead horse, it's not to belabor a point. There are going to be people left behind no matter what the five of us do. That's not pointing a finger at you, Ellen, or anybody else. It's just we have got to keep our foot on the pedal because it's coming. And I would be remiss if we didn't raise up these issues. So again, thank you for the responses. And I hope that when we move this forward, and as you all are developing this, we will be keeping a watchful eye to make sure that that same level of intention is done. That's all.
Could you just mention, we are approving tonight, how much money are we approving tonight for the survey?
So the resolution states that Durham County will support the regional implementation and explore all public, political, institutional, and financial tools in achieving the vision. It does not commit any funding directly.
I know that I read funding in one of the documents.
There is an estimated cost for the project. I believe the Durham and Orange segments of it together are about $63 million. So it is a significant cost project. It's likely to be done in phases over time by a variety of different entities. There's some interest from Wake County in doing some of the project to RTP. The Research Triangle Park Foundation has an interest in incorporating it into some of their planned trail improvements. And I think it's likely that we may be able to work with NCDOT on some of the roads, like NC 54, to implement some of the project. So it's probably, this is a long-term vision. It will probably take many years and a lot of partners, and figuring out the funding will be a critical piece of that. But this resolution does not commit Durham County any funding or management of the project. It's
always kind of tricky figuring out the portions of who pays what. Yeah. Always challenging. Okay, if there are no other questions, I will entertain a motion for the resolution. Jacobs.
Yes, thank you. And I thank you, my fellow board members, for the important points that you have made. As we move forward, this is just the first step. As I said in our work session, the way everything works is first you have to approve a plan, and then over time, when the plan is in place, there are opportunities to implement it. So this is just the very first step for the vision, and I move that our board support the resolution for the regional implementation of the Triangle Bikeway.
Get a second? Second, Long. Got a roll call.
Commissioner Long.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. Approve unanimously. Okay, this brings us to the end of our agenda, commissioners. If there is nothing else, I will ask for a adjourn.
I'm up second.
Okay.
Commissioner Long.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. It's not 9 o'clock.